I'm gonna take her to breakfast. Then we're gonna go get a manicure. We're gonna go shopping. I'm gonna pay for all of it, and then we'll have lunch and we'll call it a day.
I think she just said she's paying for it. Did anybody else catch that? Hey guys, welcome to Living in Hobe Sound. If you're new here, I'm Jody Dupuis.
And my name is Jaime Schwartz. And on this channel, we discuss what it's like working, living, and having fun here in Hobe Sound and the surrounding areas.
Today, what we're going to do is we're going to discuss the cost of living here in Martin County and Florida in general.
So how are things in your side?
It's busy. I mean, rates have come up a little bit. Everybody has seen that on the news or talked to their friends and family and neighbors about it. So they've creeped up a little, but we're still at historically low rates. So that's a good thing. It's still a good time to buy. It's still really inexpensive to borrow. And the refi market is still happening. Not as strong. I mean, it's not as inexpensive. We're not in those low twos like we were, but it's keeping me busy.
I remember my parents saying, when I had, I think it was like 3.5% or something, my first home. And they're like, our first home was 13%.
Yeah. Yeah. I think my mom was like up to 15 on her first home. By the time she sold it 18 years later, she barely paid anything on the principal.
Yeah. Well, we're definitely in a different time now. And I'm finding it's different depending on which type of buyer I'm talking to. A lot of the new buyers are like, it's so high, the interest rate. But a lot of the older buyers are understanding that this is actually very low as far as interest rates go.
First time home buyers don't really care about the interest rate, honestly. The ones that I'm working with, they just want to get a house, and it's more their focus is how am I going to find something in this market, and that's why it's really important to work with a realtor who has their finger on the pulse like you do, because then you're just spinning your wheels and wasting everybody's time is getting wasted if you're not working with a really good realtor.
I agree. I tell people all the time, if you're not going to work with me, that's fine, but find a good agent to either represent you in the sale or help you with the purchase. I have seen so many people sell a home. I saw someone lose almost $1 million because they thought they could sell it themselves and they just had no idea what the market was. So they sold it, and now they sold it for way under what should have been. And I've had buyers that knew how important it was to have an agent. So they hired me, paid my commission, and they still bought that house $75,000 below and made money. They had instant equity, even paying my commission. So
sometimes people have a hard time seeing the value in what a realtor does, and they want to be their own little armchair realtor. Buying and selling homes is not a DIY project. Like you really need to have a professional there to guide you and to coach you and mentor you and advise you, because this is something that's a big deal, but the general public doesn't do this every day. And this is something we're eating, sleeping, and breathing every single day.
Yeah.
So
much liability in it, too, that I think you only knew how much liability you have during this process and how much money you could lose or get sued for, because you just have no idea. Like, no one's going to care if you don't understand how it works. So it's not as simple as selling it and making a profit. And same with lending. Like with lending, I say the same thing. Oh, I want to work with my bank. I've been with them forever. Well, it's the same amount of work, whether you work with a local mortgage broker or a bank. But the local mortgage broker, I'm able to talk with on nights and weekends. We're able to communicate better. The communication is really the number one key to a smooth transaction. So that's why it's very important to have those relationships.
And then, of course, when you're working with someone who's local, you have that local connection as well, where, we can help you guys with whatever you need to do. If you're moving here, you already live here and you need a contractor, who should I go to get a t-shirt printed for my business or whatever, we're going to help you guys out. There's nothing like working with someone who is in the community already to where you're looking to move or refinance or whatever you're doing.
We still work with you, after, because we want,
and we don't drop you off at the close and be like, see you, peace out.
No.
And that's part of why we love what we do. So we're here to help. We're helpers,
People pleasers.
Yeah.
To an extent. I mean, both of us can hold our own if we had to.
So we had a request to do a video on cost of living in the area, right? We want to give you guys some stats like, oh my gosh, we really want to move to Florida, or we want to move to the Treasure Coast. How does that compare to say the Panhandle or Miami or the Keys or maybe the West Coast. We say the West Coast, we throw it around like we're talking about the West Coast of Florida, not so much California, but the West Coast. We're on the East Coast where the Treasure Coast is. And the West Coast would be like from Tampa down to Naples, Fort Myers, in between, Punta Gorda, all of those places. So it's regional, the cost of living. You can live above the freeze line or below the freeze line. That's going to make a difference. Where are the jobs? How am I going to earn money? How am I going to pay for that cost of living? We do have a great video on jobs and industries in the area too. So you can check that out on the page.
I find that a lot of people are thinking about the house, the insurance, the taxes, which we can tap into. But I also think that there's a lot of things that people are not considering. Like probably the number one thing if you've got children would be to line up daycare or schooling, because a lot of the daycares, have waiting lists. So you want to get on those waiting lists as soon as possible. So that's one thing that I think that a lot of people kind of just think that there's going to be ample amount of resources for daycare, but it fills up really fast here.
This is a pretty cool site. We can navigate around a little bit in here. This is niche.com, which has some great information for wherever you're looking to live, whether it's here in Florida or somewhere else in the country.
Right. And we can see if we agree or disagree. The population is above 16,000 at this point. I know that for a fact.
This is saying Hobe Sound is number 5 in best places to raise a family in Martin County. I have to disagree.
Oh.
Let's see what they're saying here. North River Shores.
Oh, Jensen Beach has a couple brand new schools, and that might be why Jensen and North River Shores has gone higher.
I live in Hobe Sound. My daughter does. My oldest goes to Jensen Beach High School through a choice program that they have there. It is a lovely school, but there's nothing wrong with the school that we're zoned for here either. Really just depends. We have a lot of choices for schooling when we're talking about, raising a family here in Martin County. We have Florida Virtual School. Right? We have charter schools, we have the public schools, and within the public schools, there is the choice program. So depending on what your student is looking at gearing towards or where they think they might want to study, you could look at the different choice programs. Virtual school right now has opened that up for everybody to kind of move around a little bit within the community as far as schools go.
Just as a quick glance, the ones that are up here, Sewell's Point, Palm City, North River Shores, the cost of living in those areas outside the Jensen Beach area is higher.
Much higher. Yeah. North River Shores, for sure, a higher cost of living than Hobe Sound. Jensen Beach is probably equivalent, don't you think?
Yeah.
Yeah. Sewell's Point is going to be much higher cost of living. And then Palm City, I would say, is probably about the same, don't you?
I think it's higher, actually.
Oh, okay. All right. I can go with that. Look at us. We beat Stuart.
I'm not shocked about that.
I do love Stuart. And then Indiantown. This is going to be our Western community.
I actually really love Indiantown. I think I like it because it reminds me of Hobe Sound. It's just equine or Western farmland.
Just missing the beach, right?
Yeah, it's just missing the beach. It's just that small town feel. Everyone knows each other. It's very quaint. I like Indiantown. A lot of history. I like history.
And then we got Port Salerno, which is a great place to hang out. And that's certainly, there's wonderful restaurants, shopping. You've got the Manatee Pocket and the inlet really close by. Sandspit Park to launch your boat. And then what's this down here, Jupiter Island? They just left them off the end here. They get no ranking at all. I guess, well, they don't have school buses on Jupiter Island. So, maybe that has part to do with the best places to raise a family. I can't believe they didn't get a ranking at all.
Well, I think that because there's not a lot of school age kids over there.
All right. So we got some stuff on niche. Let's see what they say about the best places to live. Okay. Same list. There was another website that we pulled up here, salary.com. Okay, now we're talking about the actual cost of living. We got kind of, part of living here is, how, if you have a family, where do I want to live and where they want to go to school. But let's move into cost a little bit, Jaime.
I would say that we're probably fairly average. We both live in different parts of Hobe Sound with different style houses. So
I have city water. You have a well, right?
Right.
For schooling, my kids both go to public schools, so I don't have any cost there. There are private schools and virtual schools we mentioned. I have city water here through the South Martin Regional Utilities. My water bill is like between, depending on the time of the year, $60 to $80 a month.
Do you have sewer also with that?
No. Oh, that is okay. So that's city water and sewer through SMRU for South Martin. So my city water and sewer bill runs between $65 and $80 per month, depending on the time of the year. We do have a well for our sprinklers, so we're not paying to water our lawn.
So water here free because it's a well. However, the well does take a lot of maintenance depending on how new or old it is. Ours is an 83. So it's older, and we live in a sugar sand area, so it drains. I would say we should really have had a deeper well, so we'll probably have to drill a new well soon. But we've paid in the last year probably $3,500 just to get the water to where it doesn't stain the toilets anymore, because we just bought this house. So I didn't want to put new things in unless I knew it wasn't going to stain it. So, and the water was not good enough to drink. So we put in a filter system in the kitchen, and then we fixed the water so it doesn't stain like the toilets and stuff anymore. So that was about $3,500 in the last year.
Wow.
We're still going to have to drill. The house before this, we also had city water, but not sewer. So just to give an example, family with 2 boys at the time with a pool, we were paying about $37 a month.
Okay. So there's a big difference, about half water and half sewer probably in my bill. And I've never really broken it down to look at it. That's interesting. Yeah. So I don't have a septic system, which is what, the sewer, if I only had water, say for 30 or 40 bucks a month, then I would have a septic system or a septic tank and drain field in my yard that I would have to then maintain.
Right.
I grew up with well water in South Martin County in Tequesta. And I just remember us buying the bags of salt for the softener, right? I don't remember my mom having problems with her well, certainly in looking back as a child, but just having to keep that salt in the system. But, I think the softener systems have come a long way since then. You could pay for a service to have someone service your softener. There's lots of different costs that can be involved. So just because it has a well, you think, hey, I got free water, may or may not be the case.
Right. And that salt, the salt's about $10 a bag, and you just refill it. And the septic tank, you just get checked every once in a while and make sure that you pour your Rid-X down the toilet, and you don't stick things that are not supposed to be down there. So there's both. There's definitely bonuses to both. I mean, it's nice not having the bill, but you definitely just have to maintain it.
And with the city water, I just turned on, it's on, right? Which is great, but it is hard. There's a lot of calcium deposits, and that kind of stuff does its own type of staining.
So electric. So I live in about 1,400 square foot house frame, 1983, with a pool. So the pool pump's running and all of that. We're paying about $250 to $280 a month. Sorry. Right now we've got old windows. We do have new hurricane windows coming, and we'll be redoing the roof, and we put in new doors. So hopefully that will cut it down. The lowest our bill's been with the pool, because the pool definitely is what pops it up, is about $225.
We're running right now for winter, springtime. So the air conditioner is not running 24 hours a day like it is in the summer. So seasonally, you're going to pay a different amount for your electric bill from Florida Power and Light. That's who services our community. Unless you do budget billing. You could do budget billing where they will make your bill pretty much the same every month. We don't do budget billing. So right now, where it's cooler out, we have cooler days, we're paying about $135 to $175 for a similar sized home without a pool per month. This is our lean times with our electric bill, which we love. Now we do have new windows, so that helps. And we have a new air conditioning unit. So this is the lowest I think I've seen it since we've lived in this house, and we've been here about 8 years. So I'm digging it. Now, I'm anxious to see what our bill will be like this summer. We've had the windows for a couple of years, but the air conditioning unit was just upgraded within the last year. So we'll see. Typically summertime, I'm looking at like $250 to $280 without a pool, again, in a similar sized home to you, Jamie.
So I got another big one. This one's fresh in my mind because I just hit Publix the other day. Food. So I have 2 boys, 11 and 13, and I can get us on a budget. I've done this. I have done the budget.
You're really good at budgeting your food. Pay attention, guys. She's good at this.
Sometimes I get very busy with work, and I don't have time to plan it out. And I'm spending, $350 a week in food, but I can make it to 100 if I sit down and really focus. And the boys love it. I mean, it's all good food still either way, but it can range.
Yeah. We got some new options with COVID and everything, with some of the local farmers, and also, I can say local farmers, you can do meat or vegetables there because we do have a pretty big industry in the area. So some of those companies stepped up to the plate to start delivering to consumers and not just restaurants and other wholesale venues.
Yes. If I go and I hit the produce stand and I hit the butcher, I mean, I can easily do well under $100 a week.
Yeah. Grocery change. We have Publix here. Everybody loves Publix. It's nice. It's pretty. They have a beautiful deli, but they can be more expensive than other avenues. We have Winn-Dixie. We have Aldi or Aldi, depending on how you say it. We have BJ's. We have Sam's Club. Not far from here is also a Costco's.
We have a Greenwise coming in over by you.
Oh, I didn't hear it was Greenwise. I thought it was going to be a regular Publix. Greenwise is like an organic style Publix. Oh, and we have Sprouts now too. Sprouts is brand new to the area. And then of course we have local produce. I love Country Club for my fruits and vegetables. We've got the Hobe Sound Farmers Market that's been doing some cool new stuff that's a little bit west of town. We use Uverse by AT&T in our neighborhood. What do you use for internet where you are?
We have Uverse as well.
Oh, okay. That's good. Combined with our cell phone package. I guess cell phones are a cost of living as well. Maybe if you're coming from another area, you might want to change providers, based on the towers. I've always had AT&T. It's worked really great. Pretty much anywhere that I've traveled within the country. I pay $300 a month for 3 cell phones and my internet service. I don't know if that's a great deal or not. Those things are never fun to try and renegotiate, but it's comfortable enough for us. We have great connection and speed, and I'm happy with that.
Mine's 2 different bills because I have T-Mobile for my cell phone. So we pay $200 for the house internet. Now I homeschool and I've got my own personal things running off of it and every TV in the house. That's $200 a month. Our cell phone with T-Mobile. So we've got 4 cell phones and I run a pad off of it that has its own line for where my house is. So that is $315 a month.
Fishing is a huge industry. Both of our husbands are big fishermen. Though mine's a commercial fisherman, I feel like he sells everything and doesn't always bring anything home to eat. But you can go to the beach, like my picture here in the background, maybe do a little surf fishing. That's a lot of fun. Catch some bluefish or some pompano and take them home.
This is a picture from where we were fishing like 3 days ago.
Car insurance is a big cost of living. And people think, oh my gosh, it's Florida. Crazy drivers. Yes, it's going to be nuts. We are in Martin County, Florida, which is just north of Palm Beach County and just south of St. Lucie County. We do have lower car insurance rates than the surrounding area. Something about that is that we have fewer uninsured drivers than, like, say, Palm Beach County, which is a much larger county, and Miami-Dade and Broward and all of that. The cost can be much higher to insure your vehicle, from what I understand.
Who do you use for your insurance, your car insurance? Is it do you use the same homeowners as you do for car?
I happen to use Progressive for both. I don't know I think I'm saving $6 a year in my bundle between the two. It just so happens to be that I'm using Progressive for my car. And then the house is like ASI, I think, is who writes for Progressive. Car insurance, we do pay where you pay every 6 months. I think I save $600 a year by paying in full every 6 months as opposed to paying monthly. So I do whatever I can to make sure that we stick with that plan, because I don't even understand how that's legal that they charge so much extra. But I just sent mine. I think we are paying $1,100 every 6 months for 2 drivers, and we've been with them for a very long time. So we're going to see what it costs to add that third driver.
We had Safeco, but they were okay for a while, but they almost doubled our insurance like overnight for no reason. And it wasn't like there was an accident or anything. It was renewal and they doubled it. So we were paying about $450 a month with them for just 2 drivers. So now we're over at State Farm and we're paying $250 a month. So
maybe look and see if they give you a better deal if you pay every 6 months, because I think I would be paying about the same if I was paying monthly through Progressive. They give us a much better deal if we pay 2 payments per year.
That's a good idea. We have a boat that's covered too, I should say. But yeah, that's a good idea. I'll call and ask.
Insurance rates went up about 30% over the last year across the board for homeowners insurance, as we're talking about the cost of living and what it would cost to insure your home. We were paying about $2,000 a year. Now, Jaime has a wood frame home. It is a little bit more expensive to insure. We have a concrete block or a CBS home. So we were paying about $2,000 a year. We got our renewal at the end of February and it went up to $3,000 per year. So that's like 33% increase. Went back and had the policy reviewed. And what we did is we just kind kind of move things around a little bit, that's what a good insurance agent will do for you. You know, change this here, move this there. We upped our deductible a little bit. I mean, nobody wants to have to ever use the policy, but you know, risk wise, so we saved about $500 per year on this new policy. So it did go up, but it went up to $2,500 per year. Now, homeowners insurance can vary by county for sure. You know, and then you've got flood insurance in some parts of the county as well. That's something to consider when you're thinking about your cost of living. Are you in a flood zone? Realtor.com has this really cool new feature where when you put in the address of where you're looking, it has the flood zone right there on the listing, which is really easier than all the hunting you had to do. And it's more like full disclosure. You know, here's the house you're looking at, is it in a flood zone or not? If you get flood insurance for a home that's not in a flood zone, it's like $500 a year. I have an owner who is buying in Cape Coral on the West Coast. He is in a flood zone and he's paying about $800 a year. He has to have it, where if you're not in a zone, you don't have to have it, but it's not that much to protect your one of your biggest investments, if not the biggest investment in your portfolio, your home. With our mortgage, we have our taxes and insurance escrowed. When you're talking about real estate, there's a couple different kinds of escrows, and sometimes it can be a little bit confusing. When you're talking to someone who's buying a house, they're like, what about your escrow? And they're like, well, I don't know, I gave them $10,000. Jaime, tell us about what an escrow account is as far as when you're working with the client.
So when we find you a house and you love this house and you put down what's called an escrow. It's basically a deposit that takes that house off the market for other buyers to buy. So you're putting a deposit down. It doesn't actually go towards your insurance or anything at that point. You just put it in an account through your title company or the real estate agent's company. And that sits there till closing. And then at closing, when all the insurance and taxes and everything gets divided up and you get your amount of your closing costs, what it is you need to wire to the closing, they take the amount you already have in your deposit and they factor that in as a credit to you because you've already paid that amount. That escrow will then be dispersed against your taxes that might be due by you if it's prorated or depending how it all works and where you end up.
It can actually go towards funding your escrow account, meaning your other escrow account. When I'm talking with you guys and when you're buying a house and I'm talking about escrow, I'll mention the earnest money deposit or the escrow deposit that you've put down to secure the house for the contract. But then typically you don't have to have an escrow account, but I'd say probably 90% of the loans that I do have an escrow account. An escrow account is a non-interest bearing account, same in both scenarios. But this non-interest bearing account with your mortgage is held by your mortgage company to pay your taxes and insurance each year on time. So they're going to collect a little bit from you each month for taxes and insurance. That's going to be part of your mortgage payment. And then when those are due, they're going to pay those on your behalf at the lowest rate, right? Meaning the discounted rate for taxes. Insurance doesn't give you a discount. And that's something that's rectified each year. So that's escrow when it comes to your mortgage, as opposed to who's holding your escrow when you're buying a house.
Thank you for
that. Makes sense? I hope that makes sense.
Yeah. So I have insurance, but I do know that the walk-in clinic, Hobe Sound Primary Care, which is where I'll take like Wrigley or John or someone who has an injury and I don't have time to get to the doctor, if it's like a quick thing, I'll take them into primary care. And actually I go there myself, even though my insurance is not accepted there. So I actually do see them because I think that they're fabulous and they've gotten everyone in and fixed everything. So it was $150 because they don't take my insurance. So without insurance, a visit's $150.
Yeah, insurance is nuts right now. I mean, it's absolutely insane. It's like one of those things, and we're talking about health insurance now. So that's 3 types of insurance that we've gone over. So health insurance is essential, right? You have to have it, but it's not the health insurance of 20 years ago where you paid a little copay and they took care of everything. Now you seem to be paying for every little thing. So I agree with Jaime and her point. You're going to have your policy that covers everybody. But if you're paying out of pocket because your deductible's, $10,000 a year anyway, why not pay out of pocket for a service that from a doctor or a practitioner that you actually enjoy working with and gives you the service you want? We did have some of us on an employer-sponsored plan. Some of us were on another type of plan. I don't even know what you call it. It's not on the ACA, so it's not on the Obamacare or whatever, and it's not employee-sponsored. So I have a separate plan. I now have all 4 of our family members on a separate plan. The deductible is not too crazy high. We've been on it for a year and I pay $850 a month for the 4 of us. Obviously, there's a lot of details when it goes into a plan, but I feel like we've got great coverage. It's not temporary coverage, it's full coverage. And I do that through an independent broker locally. I do know a local broker that can help as well if you don't have access to an employer-sponsored program or already have something on the ACA that you're happy with.
Taxes are based on a couple different factors, and there is a calculator online for the Martin County tax appraiser, and we can try to put a link down below if possible. So what you'll factor in is what you purchased the house for, what the assessed value is per the county, the location of the property, and will you plan on homesteading? So homesteading means making this your primary residence. And in Martin County, that means you get a credit on your taxes or a deduction. And then you also get capped. So they can only raise your taxes a certain percentage every year. With values going up as fast as they are, capping it is good because it's going to keep your taxes as low as possible. So I bought in September 2019 for $337,000. So my taxes, and I'm homesteaded, so I've got the discount. We are paying last year $4,450 is what we're paying for our taxes, just to try and give you an idea of where we were for a house that at that cost. So another thing that you can do within your taxes, there's a new program called PACE. And basically, if you wanted to get new windows or roof, anything that's like energy efficient, you can apply within the state. It has to be within certain counties. So you have to make sure you fall within those guidelines. But there's a lot of locations that will allow you then to basically pull a loan and it gets put into your taxes so that you're paying on it every year. That's another thing is, as an agent, we try to know what areas that's happening in and we do our research, because what we don't want is to say, hey, this house has brand new hurricane windows and you pay top dollar for it. And then you find out in your taxes, you're still paying. So now you're paying twice. So we just want to be aware of that's a new program that some agents just don't know about yet.
Yeah, the PACE program, and there's Y Green and some other different companies that hold those loans. And it's really important that you do work with a realtor who recognizes that, so that she can make sure that that assessment, which is what it virtually is paid at closing by the sellers. Mm-hmm. So they take care of that before you take it on. So when you're doing your own little Googling, we know you guys are Googling and you're on Zillow and Realtor.com and looking for houses. And you're like, I don't want to bother anybody yet. I'm just going to do this on my own. You're like, wow, taxes on Jody Dupuis' house that's for sale, which is not, are only $1,400 a year. And Jamie Schwartz is right down the road. She's paying $4,000 and her house is for sale too. I want the one with $1,400 per year. Guess what? When you buy the house, it's not going to be $1,400 per year. So my husband and I bought this house in 2012. And we homestead it, right? So we get an exemption for each of us. Plus they have like an extra exemption right now. So we're paying $1,402 per year. That is through our escrow account and our mortgage. So I don't have to come up with that all at once. I think you do the same thing, Jamie. Yep. I know you do. Yeah. Mm-hmm. So I pay a little bit each month towards the escrow, and then they pay that for me right away in November when it's due for the discounted rate. Actually, it's not due until April, but if you pay in November, you get a discount. That's something that working with us, we're going to help you with. I think that's a really common thing that people are looking at when they're doing their own thing, kind of shopping online, which is fine. But something to notice or to make note of is the taxes are not necessarily going to be for you, because like Jamie said, there's the assessed value combined with the purchase value and whatever exemptions you have. So when I'm working with someone, I'm going to key in on that. And you're not going to get this from your regular old box bank. They're not going to even bother to tell you. They're just going to be like, whatever. We'll do a tax estimator or a tax simulator, whether it's Palm Beach County, Martin, St. Lucie. Go in there and see what you're going to pay, if you're going to make it your homestead or not, if you have portability to carry over from another homestead in the state of Florida, which would be a huge benefit, and see, here's what we're going to use to qualify you, which is what the current owner is paying. And here's what it's going to be next year when everything is reassessed approximately. Are you prepared for this much of a change? That kind of thing. Also want to help you out with exemptions if you're a veteran or a widow or older. There's lots of things that you can key in on that you can apply for. And that's something that I'm going to help guide you with after the purchase.
I love that you do that.
It's just an extra step. I wouldn't want somebody not to tell me that.
Yeah.
Right?
And I try to cover that stuff too. But, sometimes like for an agent, when we're in houses and we're talking about stuff like that, sometimes it doesn't really sink in because they're so excited about the house or the area. And there's so much information coming at them that sometimes it doesn't sink in. So it's good to have you also in the background doing the same thing, which is why I love working with you. Cause I know that if for some reason what I'm saying is not sinking in, you're right behind me saying the same thing.
I'm there for those fine-tuned details. Okay. Now that you've done the fun part, let's get back to this part that we have to work on here.
Yeah,
See what it's going to take and what that cost to carry the property will be over time. Because what's that thing go? Nothing is sure in life but death and taxes.
Yes.
You're going to pay the house off one day. Hopefully, right? Or you can, but those taxes are going to be forever. So you want to make sure that you have a really good firm grasp of what that's going to look like for you and your family.
Right. Yeah. When I first bought, I built a house in St. Lucie County, 2003, and we moved in and the taxes were like $800 or something like that. And I was like, I can afford this. No one at the bank, because at the time the builder had us work with a specific lender and it was a big bank. I think it was Bank of America. And nobody told me about taxes or anything. So we move in, we get our first bill with the new house on it, and it had tripled instantly. Yeah. And they also didn't roll it into my mortgage payment. So there was no escrow. So I had to come up with that. I was not expecting it. No one told me that that was going to happen based from land to all of a sudden the house, the value went up. So, having someone explain that, I realized really fast at 21 that it was so important to have the right people on your side explaining things because we can't know everything.
Again, this is not something you're going to do every day, but we do it every day. We're not perfect, but we're going to try and make sure we hit all of those points for you so that you don't have a big surprise like that. So with the builder situation, they're giving you the taxes on basically what the lot is. Yeah. So that can really throw things off. And another thing I see, Jaime, is when people are comparing. So maybe they go to Bank of America or Chase. Maybe they bank with that bank. Hey, why not let them give you a quote for a mortgage? I like to take a look at what kind of estimate they're giving you versus what my real estimate looks like so I can kind of explain. Because a lot of times they're undershooting what those taxes are going to be. They're undershooting what the insurance is going to be. So they're showing you a mortgage payment, say with escrows, that could be $500 or $600 a month off when it comes down to it and things, work themselves out or even more. We don't have any state tax in Florida. Obviously, you guys have state taxes across the country if you're not from the area. We do hear from the people that are coming here, part of the reason that they decided to move is, to save on taxes. Sales tax we could talk about. In Martin County, I think we're at 6.5%. Where we are in Hobe Sound, we're really close to the neighboring and bordering counties, Palm Beach County, St. Lucie County. Okeechobee County is not as close. That's the western border. You don't pay any sales tax when you buy a home, just a tidbit there in case you were wondering. Palm Beach County is 7%. So we're 6.5% here in Martin County, 7% in Palm Beach County. Hey, if you're buying a car and you're looking at Palm Beach County versus Martin, maybe something to think about. That 0.5% tax could make a big difference in your purchase.
So this is our sales tax. We're number 21. That's not bad in my opinion.
I don't think so either. Oh my goodness. Look at some of these. Look at California and Washington. Holy crap.
We're right in the middle. I'd say that that's a fair location for us.
Especially for the quality of living that you get here.
That's what I was going to say. We have a high quality.
That's a no-brainer.
Yeah.
It certainly shouldn't be a decision of whether you move here or not. But property taxes, 13, pretty good ranking for property taxes.
We're just above California and we definitely beat out Texas, but I'm shocked. I'm not really shocked, but it's different to see Illinois and New York and the whole Northeast. I mean, this would explain why we're seeing so many people from the Northeast from here. Yeah. I mean, I'm seeing a lot more Texans and California too, and Illinois.
Income taxes. We didn't talk about income taxes because it's not really a thing here in Florida.
But I look at it because I'm constantly trying to find out, who's coming here and why are they coming here? Income tax is a big thing. I know that this will be changing. I'm sure it'll be changing over the next couple of years as states try to regulate all of what's going on that we were not expecting.
So there's only 8 states without income tax. Pretty interesting.
So when you're looking at all 3 of those maps, we're doing very well right in the center or on the best side.
Which is making us more attractive for people moving here.
Right, because it's across the board, it makes sense. Jody and I have used the YouTube channel. We have a private sector for buyers, so we can send over videos of homes or neighborhoods or streets if you've got questions, 360 degrees or not. So we're able to help. I closed a lot of deals last year sight unseen because people couldn't travel. And we're still doing that because homes are going so fast. They can't get down here fast enough.
In this market, you've got to be ready as soon as it comes on. And then I have some clients with another realtor that I'm working with that the home is listed, but there's no showings until the open house. And then it's just like a huge free for all at the open house. Have you seen that too?
I've seen that. And a little heads up to the buyers out there who doesn't want their agent to be, running around for no reason. Like it used to be where you can go to an open house, you tell them I'm working with an agent, and then you tell your agent you like the house and you can write it up. But now I'm seeing where agents are writing in there, if you do not show up to the open house with your agent, or if I don't show up to the open house with my buyer, then I can't represent that buyer if they purchase it. There's now that going on where buyers have no clue that that's going on. They're just going into houses. It's not their fault.
Again, it's not a DIY thing. You need to have somebody on your side who's looking out for you and protecting your best interest, your liability, all of that. And that's what Jaime's here for.
Right. And it also doesn't go just for the best pricing. I'll say, I've represented buyers who understood that they were paying over what the current value was at that time. They understood, because we went over all the charts, where the market was, where the history of the area is. They felt comfortable making that investment. And months later, I ran numbers and they have plenty of equity in the house now. And it's only been a couple months. So I'm not saying that will work for everybody, but understanding like you might pay a little bit more up front, but knowing where we're going, maybe it's worth it to you just to be done and buy a house.
We'll help. Yeah, exactly. It will help you guys weigh out the pros and cons. And if it does work for you, if it doesn't, if you should wait, if you should jump. We have a client that we're working with now who has been looking for a long time, and he's in New York, up in Long Island. And he's like, "Ooh, maybe I should just rent." The more we talked about it with him, no, that's probably not the best thing to do. He's going to actually probably just buy like a condo or something a little bit different than what he wants to eventually be in, just so he doesn't waste his money on rent. Get in, get a feel for the area. And then when he's ready to move into a single family home or the waterfront community that he's looking at, you can sell the condo or rent it out. So we'll help consult you guys with the best plan of action.
Yeah, I'm seeing a lot of single family home buyers switching over to condos. Yeah. Because they feel like it's way better than rent. And rental, there's not a lot of inventory there either. And the prices are awfully high. So, and they want, 3-4 months in advance on top of your security deposit. Might as well use that and buy something a little bit more affordable. It's not perfect, but it gets you here. And then we can keep looking.
Yeah. If you're paying $3,000 to $5,000 a month in a rental seasonally, I mean, how quickly does that make more sense to you to just buy something? Because you don't want to, you work hard to save your money to purchase. You don't want to throw it away in a rental, and they're going to want first, last security, maybe a pet security on top of that. And then, 6 months in, where are you at? This has been really fun.
Yeah. It's our first Zoom video.
Listen, for Mortgages Made Easy, call me Jody Dupuis.
Our contact's in the information below. Reach out. Bye.
Hope you had fun. Hope this was informative. Let us know what you thought. Thanks.
Yes.